Is Ethereum an SEC qualified digital asset security? That is the question of today. This is truly unbelievable to see this whole thing come full circle as far as this legal battlefield. We've been in it in the XRP community for way too long. Everybody in the crypto space just doesn't care. They all just assume everything's going to be fine. The SEC has no jurisdiction. Gary's a bad guy. They're never going to be able to do anything to us. We're fine. I think that that's going to be a fatal assumption, but nonetheless, we'll see how far Gary and his regime is able to get. And it appears that Prometheum, as the first SEC-sanctioned and FINRA-accepted qualified custodian here in the United States. Remember, Prometheum was the one that, was called in front of Congress, was kind of like the SEC's chosen platform that was brought in front of Congress. And they're a platform for crypto asset securities, that term that Gary Gensler and the SEC are now throwing around, right? And they just offered their first product, and you can guess it, it was Ethereum. Let's get right on into it, folks. The market is actually pumping and back up today, so I do want to show you the charts here before we get started. Bitcoin back up to about 47,700 this morning. Just absolutely ripping on the daily chart here. This takes us back to the Bitcoin spot ETF news, right? The buy the rumor, sell the news. We get cleaned out back down to 38,500. But ever since then, we're actually up about 23% on Bitcoin on that move. And we've kind of cooled off here a little bit, right back below 47,000 right now as we speak. But you can see here that the market is back up today. Ethereum back up to about 2,500. And for XRP, pumping back up to about 52.5. Okay, we'll continue to watch that one, but let's get right on into the update, folks. Check it out. Prometheum Capital is thrilled to announce the Ethereum as the first digital asset security for institutional custody on our platform. That's right, folks. Digital asset security, that new favorite term of Gary Gensler and the SEC, right? The first offering being Ethereum. This is truly incredible. Institutions can now sign up in preparation for our upcoming custodial services. Now, we look a little bit further here. Chad Steingraber shares this, and you wonder why Gary Gensler is so desperately wanting the crypto industry labeled under securities. This is from their website, the Digital Asset Securities Ecosystem for Institutions, the regulated path forward for digital asset securities. And you can see from this tweet right here, they're touting, right, the company's approval of it's membership application from FINRA as an SPBD, permitted to custody, clear, and settle digital asset securities. So there's it's so clear, right? There's no crypto assets, there's no crypto commodities. Crypto asset securities is what this platform is for. And right, the SEC was touting Prometheum and their CEO and founder, right, as the darling of this space, right? They did the right thing. They came in and talked to Gary. They got approval. And their first digital asset security is Ethereum. We are watching this unfold as the SEC is supposed to be approving the spot Ethereum ETF. And as we've been talking about, right, the SEC is backed into a corner here. We know that the original ICO was definitely an unregistered securities offering. No doubt about that in my mind at all. The question now becomes, are we going to get regulations from Congress to really clarify when a crypto asset is a security? When is it a commodity? We have the Howey test that goes back, 80 years, right? Some say it's outdated. For me, I think it's pretty clear cut and dry. When you're raising funds from investors to return them a profit, right? And you meet those Howey prong, the Howey prong test, you have yourself a security. When you don't hit the Howey prong, and when there is no investment contract, then you have a commodity. You have a currency. Those are really the only two other classifications to be had. And so this is why I'm calling, many of these are crypto commodities. They have utility and they can be used as currencies as well, just like XRP. Now, in some of these, though, the consensus method and the fact or the lack of decentralization, some might argue that a proof of stake method of consensus might make a project a security, right? You're pooling investments, right? You're pooling your ETH. You have to stake 32 ETH. And if Vitalik had his way, you'd have to have like 100 ETH or something like that. He wanted to up it. It's 32 ETH right now to stake and to confirm the network. And so one could make the argument, right, that the consensus process of proof of stake, specifically in Ethereum, could be a security still, just by consensus, right? That is separate from the initial offering. I don't think that there's anybody who would argue that the original offering for the ETH ICO was an unregistered security. I mean, that's just being dishonest, right? You had a raising of funds, you know, in a common enterprise with the expectation of profits based off the efforts of others. You give us 1,000 Bitcoin, we give you 2,000 Ether, whatever the original deal was. It's just being dishonest if you're going to say that that was not an unregistered securities offering. Now, we can debate all day long here, and, you know, really it's just being fought out in the courts right now. But did the Prometheum announcement right here just show the hand here of the SEC, right? This is fascinating to me. We're going to continue to watch this development, but nonetheless, shocking to see this thing come full circle and to have Prometheum just kind of walk right out here. Hey, come custody your crypto asset security with us. First offering up on the table, Ethereum. Incredible. Stephen Arioff, the Ethereum whistleblower, who's been adding incredible insight into the Ethereum story. Prometheum's declaration of Ethereum as a security extends beyond regulatory semantics. It's a move by entities with deep CCP ties aiming to control the narrative in the crypto space. The silence on this matter, especially from figures like Gary Gensler, only deepens the intrigue. Our very own chair of the SEC, Gensler, gave Prometheum an unprecedented magic bullet license that effectively allowed them to declare ETH a security. This move sidesteps the alarming issues within Ethereum that could jeopardize its acceptance and expose systemic corruption. It's not merely about Ethereum's status, it's about safeguarding American financial sovereignty against foreign influences. You know, what was interesting about when Stephen Arioff came on my Twitter space a couple months ago is he talked about how Vitalik really was just kind of a puppet of Wang Sheng and some of the Chinese investors. It wasn't that he was a puppet of Putin just because he came from Russia, right? Many people suggested that. It really was more of Chinese backing. And expanding on that further, we have Boring Sleuth right here, one of the best sleuths in the game, says the CCP has taken over crypto by being Ethereum's largest hidden whale, with an ownership estimation on my end of nearly 2/3 of the ETH supply today. They've clearly compromised the SEC and CFTC, with Prometheum being given the only special purpose dealer broker license for digital assets. How about that, folks? How about that? I wonder how much of the PPP fraud during COVID was from the CCP, which ran through Ethereum. Just look at the data. A massive dollar volume surge shown below ran through Binance as our trillions in PPP funds were being released. This gentleman right here has been over this thing, directly over the target, and our good friend Stephen Arioff, the Ethereum whistleblower, in tandem, right? They've been piecing together this whole thing. I got more to cover on that. I'm going to be doing a separate video because Stephen Arioff just dropped another bombshell conversation between him and Joseph Lubin and some of the early Ethereum insiders. Another one, right? So I'm going to cover that in a separate video. But taking advantage of the opportunity to call out the SEC and Chair Gensler is our good friend Stuart Alderati from Ripple right here. Who else would hire him? And this is a conversation going on. Would Chair Gensler step down if Trump was elected? SEC Chair Gensler said Wednesday he absolutely plans to stay on as Wall Street's top regulator should President Joe Biden win a second term in November. He says, "I love this job," Gensler said in an interview from his office at the SEC's headquarters in Washington. But Stuart Alderati chimes in. Who else would hire him? He's politically toxic. He's a serial loser in the courts. His staff has been caught lying to judges. His agency's Twitter account was hacked in the most embarrassing way, and his sponsor at MIT quit because of close Epstein ties. Did I miss anything? The only thing that I would add is that he was the chief financial officer of the criminal campaign conspiracy. And I'm not going to name the name of the campaign, but you guys know what I'm talking about. That would be the only other thing I would add, right? And you guys let me know if there in the comments if there's anything else that we should mention in regards to Gary Gensler. But I'm just a fan of what we're seeing right now unfold, right? The SEC is now going to be forced to answer yes or no. Is Ethereum a security? You have a platform right here that you paraded around in Prometheum, and now their crypto asset security platform is offering Ethereum first. And now we want to pass the spot Ethereum ETF. This is getting interesting. Remember, this is why we got to continue to apply pressure, share the word out far and wide. There's still so many people in the crypto asset space that don't understand anything about this legal battlefield, and they don't even want to talk about it. They're so busy trying to find the next meme coin, the next 100x gains, bro, that they forget that this whole space, 99% of it is going to go away and get killed because of this right here, what we're talking about. So if you guys can do me a favor, please help me share it out far and wide, and I will see you guys in the next one. We got more content coming later today, and at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern on my TikTok, I'm actually going to be interviewing the producer and director of the XRP Unleashed documentary. That's going to be on my TikTok platform at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern tonight. I will see you guys there. God bless. I am your host, Zach Rector. I really appreciate all of the love and support. If you want to support the channel, just remember that you can start by smashing that thumbs up for me, sharing this content far and wide, and everything else is at my website.